first IVF cycle, I was asked if I wanted to go with high dose versus low dosage. I had read somewhere that high dosage can create more eggs, and it is good for IVF because you have to extract them and then test them, and majority of the time most of your eggs don't survive. So I went with the high dosage and was hoping everything would be well. So if you're interested to know what those meds are, I had 10 Recovil pens, and what that means is 10 injections of 12 mcg, 10 Menopur 150 IU, 5 Orglutron, 1 Ovidrel 250 mcg, and 1 progesterone supplements. So I had those, and I was, even though with the high dosage, I was only getting 3 eggs, and they were very small. The size of the eggs were less than 2. So on day 7, I had 1.6, 1.2, and 1.2, and no eggs on my other side of the fallopian tube, the right side, that is. So day 9, when I went for my ultrasound, they didn't see any growth in the 1.6 egg. The 1.2 went to 1.4, and then that 1.2 egg which I had on day 7 didn't exist anymore. So I was only left with 2 eggs. So my doctor was really scared of the eggs being released, and she was scared because my LH kept rising. So the LH is an indicator for releasing an egg. So she tried to control it with Orglutron. So I was taking Orglutron, I think the 250 almost every day on day 6. I took it for 5 days. So I was on that protocol, and the night before I was supposed to, I believe it was a Saturday that I had to go for the egg retrieval, but they didn't. My doctor called me on, I think, Thursday. She called me to ask me if I wanted to move my IVF to IUI. Dr. Chan mentioned that there's cost involved in it and the egg quality might not be so good. Why doctors is because if you go in an operation theater and your eggs are released, you still have to pay for the doctors and the anesthetic person, as well as the embryologist. So you have to pay for their time. So I was very devastated, to be honest, because I had worked very hard to keep my stress level down. I was not taking caffeine that much, and I had really worked hard towards taking the injections on time, eating right. I called my partner to ask him what he thinks, and he thought that we should take our doctor's advice because it makes sense. We didn't want it to waste our money, so we moved to IUI. The doctor assured me that IUIs also have high chances of success, and we were just scheduled to come tomorrow to get IUI done, and then 2 weeks later to schedule for a pregnancy test. So IUI stands for, I think, intrauterine insemination. It's what they do is they wash the sperm. After washing the sperm, and they take out the best sperms, and then they put it in a tube, and that tube goes all the way up into your uterus, high up in the uterus, and then they just deposit it there. So it's very, very short time procedure, and that's pretty much it. So fast forward, I don't want to delay the outcome. We weren't successful. I was very sad. I cried during, I've been crying throughout the whole process, during the injections time, praying to God that maybe the IUI is successful, because we paid almost 10,000 for the medicines, and even though it went through IUI, the medicine cost was quite high. And then I think why 10,000, I'll have to remember exactly the stuff, but I think it was for both our IVF and IUI, maybe 10 to 15,000 were gone in medicine, because we took a lot. Anyhow, so my next cycle, which was my doctor asked me, do I want to go for my next cycle? And I told her I would like to go in October of that same year, 2023, because I was a bit tired and I needed to be more stable before I can go for another IVF. So I did that. So my next cycle, I asked for low medicines, not the high dosage, and my protocol was the same. And I was very worried about why my LH went up, and I asked the doctor, and she said, hey, that is not very common. Most patients do. It's like very rare chances, so some patients not react well and therefore the LH goes up. So I did tell her that what happens if it goes up again. So she said it won't happen again. And what she did was we went for the low dosage, and she gave me a different protocol. So in addition to what I had letrozole added to my protocol. So five pills of letrozole. This is mostly taken from your mouth. It's 5 mg. 12 Recowil in comparison to 10, and then 12 Menopur. Now you might be wondering why from 10 I'm going to 12. It was supposed to be low dosage, and now it's actually 2 more increased on it. I went from 5 Orglutron to 6 Orglutron. Yeah, and then 1 Overdrol, and then progesterone supplement. So what happened here was this second IVF was shorter than the first IVF. And let me just pull my reports so that I can let you guys know. And yeah, so everything was going how it was supposed to. Like, they were doing the monitoring, I was taking the meds, and then in day 9 they realized, day 9 to day 11, it was growing, and then they called me on day 13. So from day 13 to from day 11 to day 13, I still had 3 eggs, and I had 1 in the right and 2 in the left. And from day 11 to day 13, my eggs stopped growing. So my doctor was like, okay, now what? And I was worried, because I was like, hey, the high dose didn't work, the low dose is not working, what's going on? So my doctor suggested I go back to increasing my dosage because the eggs are not growing. So she increased my dosage, and the eggs did grow, but it didn't improve significantly. My eggs, they were still 3, but you can see that it's already day 15, and I was not anywhere like 2, like the 2.0 is optimal for IVF, and I wasn't close to that. And the LH started rising again. My luck was kind of bad in that sense. The LH went up, and when the LH kept going up, I already knew that I had a lost case. So the doctor called me up again and said, hey, it's not growing as we thought, would you want to move it to IUI? At that point, I already knew that IVF would not be the best option, since the egg quality is not good. It's the same story, the LH is going up. So I said, okay, sure. And then 2 weeks down the line, again, I had not a positive pregnancy test. So that's the wrap up of the first 2 IVF cycle. My third IVF cycle, which Dr. Chan asked me, hey, do you want to do the third one? And I said, we couldn't control my reaction to my body. I wasn't really reacting very positively to the dosage, and the LH kept going up. So what are we going to do different about the third one? And Dr. Chan at first didn't have a response. Then later when we had a follow-up, she mentioned that she would suggest me to do a microdose flare protocol.